Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Back to that lemon light city, Sweet Hope, Chicago. 22 is 4, 4, 4, 6. Come on, baby, now get your business fixed. Come on.
Hi there, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine with the greatest cameraman around, Sonny Hersh, and your host, Avi Meyers.
Thank you, Marty. And I want to give an extra special thanks to all the people at the Illinois...
Which Marty was it?
Pardon?
Which Marty was it?
Marty Robbins. Marty Levinson, of course. I want to thank all the people from the Illinois State Crime Commission. It was really a great banquet, and it's a lot of fun being up there on stage. And thanks especially to Jerry Elsner and to Wanda Brunke for all their help and support. Thank you so much. Community policing, be a good idea. We like it. I think we like it. Matter of fact, Jody Weiss might be here the next time we tape, we're hoping. Got to meet him over at the banquet along with some other top police officials and other interesting people. Community policing, go to caps24.org. Our website, of course, is ntnm.org. Any word on a new... he needs no introduction, so I didn't introduce him. That's Alderman Stone. Hi, how you doing? Any word on a new police commander yet for 24?
No, but I'm told that within the next week or so that it'll happen.
That'll be good. You know what? And I volunteer to take the job. I'll be more than happy to do it. Of course, I haven't filed the police exam, but I understand it's a good paying job.
Well, you have to be, I think, a minimum of a lieutenant, so that's pretty good pay.
Yeah, they don't make captains anymore. So no, you know what? I knew one former police commander here. I think made about $135,000.
Oh, that's pretty high.
So that may not be alderman money. Well, actually, that is more than alderman money.
Oh, it's much more than alderman.
So it's not an easy job, though, and you know, I hope we get somebody good, and I hope the community police.
And they don't have to take it furloughs either.
Oh, that's right. You have to take an unpaid furlough these days. Furlough. So what's going on in City Council?
Well, basically, that was the subject matter of the last council meeting, was the furloughs. And aldermen do not have to take a furlough, but most aldermen will take the furlough, and I will take the furlough days, and that means it will cost me $6,600 plus.
Wow.
But aldermen lead by example.
By the way, I'm more than happy to take the 6,600, everybody.
You're going to take the 6,600? No.
Sure.
Who's going to pay who's going to make up for the 300 million shortfall?
That's a different story. That's a problem and a half. That's for sure. It's not good economic times for anybody.
No,
I mean,
it's not.
I can tell you, just in my business alone, it's like the jobs I have are smaller. We've done no film work in about 4 or 5 months now. It's been hard.
That was the worst part of. It was a great debate, actually, but the worst part of the debate is people were finger pointing and saying it's his fault, it's her fault, it's their fault, and the fault really lies in the economy. Obviously. Some of it is obviously from poor management, but most of it is in the economy. The monies didn't come in, and therefore you didn't have the funds with which to meet the obligations. And the joke was, of course, that I had told this to the administration more than 2 years ago, that it was easy to see. Part of my speech was I said my name isn't Nostradamus and I don't read tea leaves, but it was obvious that this was going to happen, and certainly in the field of real estate, which I'm fairly knowledgeable about, it was obvious that we were going to have a slide back, and you can call it a a depression, you can call it a recession, you can call it whatever you want, but real estate clearly had slid back, and as a result, you didn't have as much money come in on the real estate transfer tax. I had told them 2 years ago that they were estimating too high and that they were at least $50 million off.
I remember you talking about the CTA. There was a mistake for the
CTA, yeah. And
to base their income on that.
As a result, I told them $50 million, and I was wrong. It was $60 million. And that is part of our shortfall. The rest of the shortfall basically comes from two major other items. Sales tax. If people don't have the money, they can't spend it. And if you can't spend it, you don't receive any funds from the sales tax. That is another area in which they didn't receive the money. So those are two major areas that make up probably 2/3 of the shortfall, the sales tax and the real estate transfer tax. If we had those, the normal intake from those two items, then we wouldn't be as far behind as we are.
Yeah, I got to admit I'm spending a lot less, and I'm making do with what I got. As a matter of fact, when I went to Romanian Kosher, which is my, by the way, these guys make some of the best meat there is. I mean, sauce, the salami is like beyond belief. It was like, hi, stranger, you go vegan on us?
No.
You know, it's my budget.
But it's everybody. Everybody is having the same problem. And then on top of it, then you have the fact that the state is not giving us the funding. Then you had this terrible winter, and you're spending more money as a result of a terrible winter. And the net result of a terrible winter is a terrible spring, the potholes, and
yeah, everybody's still complaining about that.
Well, they have a right to complain. Then, as a direct result, you lay off help and you don't hire the special help that we normally bring in, and as a result, you have a lack of services. So people have a right to complain. So then you're faced with all of these, not only a shortfall in money, but a shortfall in services. And all of these add up to bad times, and these are bad times.
No question about it. No question about it. Actually, on a number of grounds, but yeah, it's...
Somebody remarked yesterday, when he used to drive downtown, he used to see all of these cranes and the construction. You don't see those cranes and construction anymore. I used to, I'm constantly up in the building department and the zoning department trying to help people. And it used to be that the people were filling every single chair, and you had to wait in line up there. Not anymore. Half the number of people are sitting in those chairs now that used to sit in those chairs. And the reason for that is construction. There's a construction cutback, and it's easy to see. Washington keeps telling us that it's going to get better soon. I don't see it.
I don't see it either, and I don't believe too much of what I hear from Washington.
Well, I don't either, and I don't see the happy times coming that quickly. I know I have faith in America. I believe that it will come. We'll bounce back, but I don't see it happening tomorrow, and I don't see it happening the day after tomorrow. I think it'll take us some time for it to happen, but we'll bounce back. We're a very versatile people.
I agree. I see two places where there is construction right now. Of course, the parking garage at Devon and Rockwell seems to be doing very nicely.
We're ready to start almost on the 4th floor now.
Which is terrific, and I want to wish them all the luck in the world. And it's nice to see some construction, despite the efforts of certain people to want to stop construction
they
throughout.
Put us back over a full year, and if you'll remember...
Oh, by the way, I did invite Greg Brewer, for the record, to come on the show and give him an open forum.
I don't name names.
And he basically sent me back an email that he couldn't make it. And I said, do you mean you can't make it now, or you can't make it at all? And he basically let me know he doesn't care to go on the show at all.
Maybe he doesn't believe in you.
Well, first of all, he can believe in me or not believe in me. I know he doesn't like me. And by the way, just for the record, too, I've been consistently inviting Senator Silverstein on the show, and he says he hasn't been able to make it, but I've invited him to the last 3 shoots.
We were set back a year, and then of course I had to cut back on the residential parking, but I only set it back a year. Now we've reinstated all the residential parking, and within, certainly by next spring, we'll be able to start parking on the lower 3 levels.
Great.
And the building won't be complete, but we'll be able to start. We'll be able to start parking.
Do those meters? Are they also? Are they?
And the meter situation, as much as people criticize it, the meter situation has helped also. The meter situation has now freed up meters on Devon.
By the way, the meters that are going to be in that place, are those going to be city meters? Is that part of the?
I don't think that's going to be a metered lot. That's going to be
where you pay to go in and pay to go out and all that, or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's going to be an operated lot.
Okay, talk to
the meter. I was contacted by the company that operates the meters on the Vaughan, and they indicated they're putting the pay boxes, so you won't have to carry a load of quarters in your pocket. You'll be able to use a credit card.
Or in my case, I'm just going to walk there.
Well,
I don't have a car.
But you use a bicycle too.
Very rarely.
Very rarely.
But I have to. I have a bicycle, but you know what? I'm afraid of the drivers around here.
Well, maybe you have a right to be.
And I'm not exactly the best. You know what? When it comes to athletics, I mean, I'm big, I'm strong. You know, I could play the Bill Lamb beer game in basketball. But when it comes to being graceful and quick on a bike with these oncoming motorists, no thanks.
I played football myself, but that was many, many years ago. But I never did have the true coordination that you should have. Yeah,
I don't have that either. But big and strong I am. But you know what? So speaking of construction, what's going on with the school on Whipple?
Well, I'm happy to say the construction, which was delayed by a group which I still say has xenophobia. You want to look that word up, you can.
Okay.
Fear of strange people.
That's X-E-N, people.
Anyway, they held back construction for, about 30-plus days. But construction has started. When this show is aired, I don't know when it's going to be aired.
Couple of weeks.
It started a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, it's starting the day this is being filmed.
Yeah, and now any concessions for them in terms of an additional?
No concessions. The whole reason it was stopped was no reason. It was stopped merely because of the intercession of a certain politician who shall remain nameless.
Whose mothers lives on Whipple.
And who at a certain town hall meeting denied that he had anything to do with it. So that's besides the point.
There was some crowd he had at the town hall meeting.
Yeah, well,
union crowd.
Yeah, well, they were unhappy over the fact that they face losing their jobs.
The funniest thing to me is when the legislature was in session, I got a call from SEIU offering me to push a button to put me directly in touch with my state senator's office to be against the bill to waste all the taxpayer. This is the way they put it, to waste taxpayer money to send people to nursing homes, and they wanted home care instead. And what they don't realize is the last time I checked, the state senator over here introduced 22 bills the last year I checked to give nursing homes more money. That's where his money comes from.
Well,
I'm not saying that that's all wrong or right or anything. I'm just saying that that's the way it is. I mean, everybody's got their interest, and that's his interest.
Everybody has their ox to gore, but the fact is, I don't view either one as a waste of money. And of course,
Now there's some very good things happening in nursing homes, and I've got a group home next door, and you know, I want to tell you something. Compared to some of the neighbors around here, I don't mind them as much as I thought I would.
the fact is that I happen to believe that that they furnish a great service to people, and I don't have any objection.
I agree, and I think you know what, and the people that keep nice homes, and there are plenty that do. You know, I think that it's a terrific service, and it's something that is needed in today's society. There's no question about it.
Also,
and some of those guys are really nice people.
And I have no objection to it. And
no, what I'm saying is, I just think it's funny that they're telling me to, like, they think they're going to influence the guy who's like the main spokesman for the nursing home industry in Springfield.
Well, maybe they don't realize what district you live in.
Oh, they knew. They offered to put me right in touch with Senator Silverstein, so that was.
In any event.
Yeah, that was my comment on SCIU more than it was on IRA.
Didn't make any difference because he didn't vote either way. He passed his vote anyway.
Oh, that's on the budget. That's right. Oh, so you know what? Let's talk about pages 46 to 68 of that capital budget. There's 23 pages worth of bribes. I mean, grants for neighborhood organizations and schools and all the rest of it. It's all legal, of course.
Well, that's not unusual. I mean, look, let's face it, that many of those grants are to do great services for schools and things of that nature. And I think that's
some of the
very
stuff
good.
is excellent. I agree. I mean, money going to schools and certain worthwhile organizations, I think, is absolutely terrific. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
But money.
I'm just giving him a hard time because I want him to come on the show and talk to me.
Money to a community organization to improve Western Avenue when you don't designate where on Western Avenue, which means it could have been on 95th and Western, and you don't designate what the improvement is, doesn't mean a damn thing. And particularly in as much as they can't do any improvements without going through my office. They can't do anything on the right-of-way. So, I mean, he didn't discuss it with me. So, I mean, it's ridiculous.
Does he ever talk to you?
Well, he invited me to the town hall meeting, and I came.
Did he actually call you personally?
No, he wrote me a letter, and I wrote him back saying I would be happy.
I mean, he didn't bother to tell you. He didn't even bother to talk to you when he ran against you for a ward committeeman.
He talked to me after the election.
Oh, okay, that I didn't know.
But that's beside the point. Look, the fact is that the election is over, and that's a thing of the past. But the fact is that some of the grants were good, some of them were silly, and some of them will never come to pass anyway. So what's the difference?
Yeah. Well, I actually, you know what, I still want to say, I never really had this conversation with you, but in my mind, this is my mental I told you so to you, even though I never told you in the first place. But you know what, if we had actually gotten some grants for the old Northtown Community Council, which was a worthwhile, nonpartisan, nonprofit 501c3, unlike these local organizations around here now, we'd still be going. People don't begin to realize that without grant money, the Rogers Park Community Council, which does some very nice things, and some of the others around here never would have existed without various grants. I mean, it's very hard to keep an organization together when you don't have any money coming in. That's for sure.
These things happen, and unfortunately, you depend on if you don't have grants, then you depend on local sponsors or rich people, or rich companies, and which makes you dependent on somebody, and makes you really their spokesman.
Well, that does happen also. There's no question about it. But look, you know, there's no good answer to it. But I wonder, are there any community organizations that you think are absolutely terrific that should be a model for people of how to run a community organization?
All community organizations have some ox to gore, and
boy, that's our second ox reference in this conversation.
Well,
been studying Gomorrah lately?
No, but in the meantime, that's a good phrase to think of. You know,
and we're not talking about Al either.
No, but in the meantime, it's true. I mean, everybody has an interest which they have to put forward,
Yeah.
and that's the way it is.
One of the things I do want to mention, I was going to mention this in the beginning, but you always get me off track, which is okay.
Okay.
Because basically I was born off track, so, or at least on the south side. But in any event, some of the people we've got coming in the future, I've never had the commissioner south of us. And I got a call from Bridget Gaynor's office today, from Katie Hellman.
Yeah.
And she'll be coming on the next taping. And over at the Illinois State Crime Commission dinner, I was able to invite Jody Weiss, the police superintendent, and Anita Alvarez and Tom Dart, state's attorney and sheriff, will be making appearances shortly. And I also spoke to John Cullerton, who we're going to be getting on the show. At least we'll get somebody from the Senate. And also Christine Radano, the Republican minority leader. And the minute she saw me, she said right away, YouTube! Because when she ran for treasurer a few years ago, we had her on the show. You hear anything at all about, since Julie Himlis apparently is running for higher office, have you heard anything at all about who might be running for her state representative slot?
No. I haven't heard about anybody running for state representative. Oh, by the way, I did attend the swearing in of a good friend of both yours and mine as a judge in the 9th Judicial Circuit. Yehuda Leibovitz was sworn in as a judge last week.
Oh, I want to congratulate him. Absolutely, and I'm so glad to hear that appointment.
He was a trustee in Lincolnwood and a longtime friend of mine, and I was so proud of him.
He's a really good guy.
He's going to be a good judge, too. He's a very serious-minded young man. Young to me, but middle-aged to most people. But
no, he's basically my age, a little bit younger. And his father was the president of my synagogue, Rabbi Rosenthal's, and his mom and my mom were very good friends.
Yeah, he's a good young man, and I look forward to him being a great judge.
I think so too. And by the way, as speaking of that, the other new judge for the 9th Sub-Circuit, Michael Bender, will be on the show in a couple of weeks, and as a matter of fact, they'll be here later today. Well, and I saw your name on his letterhead.
I'm a supporter of Michael, as I was his father, and his father's still
his father's still around. His father's a really great guy.
He's one of the few judicial father and son acts. Both Michael and his father,
and they're both
Jerry,
quality individuals,
and are both sitting judges.
And of course, Jerry's like a legend among Jewish judges. He's also he's done a lot of pro bono work over the years for Simon Wiesenthal, as he has Michael Bender.
It was Jerry who introduced me to Simon Wiesenthal, and I was Simon's host at a breakfast at the Old Bagel on Devon Avenue.
Okay.
And it was Simon Wiesenthal who advised us in 1977 how to handle the Nazis when they threatened to appear in Skokie.
Oh, I remember that very well. I worked for the Sentinel in those days.
Well,
I spent 3 days.
I was one of the few politicians who was on the scene in Skokie. And
as a matter of fact, I remember those days, and I was very proud of the way you acted publicly. I remember a meeting at Ezra Israel about the situation, when I was behind you all the way with that stuff. Matter of fact, one of the stories I'll probably never tell is I spent the 3 days before the Nazi march downtown with Mayor Kahana and his people. And I mean 3 days and nights. That was very interesting.
I was one of the few politicians who welcomed Mayor Kahana with open arms, too, Rabbi Kahana.
He was my aunt's cousin. I actually knew him before he was famous.
Yeah. He was very nice to me, too.
I liked him very much. I used to pick him up at the airport when he used to come to town.
A lot of people who castigated me for being nice to him.
Well, that's their problem. But in any event, Mickey's hands are running the wrong way, and we cut you a little short this week because we showed my speech at the beginning of the show, but I had to get that in there. I want to thank you very much, Alderman Berny Stone, 50th Ward.
Thank you.
Want to thank Joe Chuck J for bringing you. I want to thank my entire technical crew, Sonny Hersh. Coming up in the next couple of weeks, we've got Alderman Joe Moore of 49. We're going to have the publisher of the Journal Topics paper, Todd Wessel, talking about his new book. We'll have Judge Michael Bender coming on, as well as all sorts of interesting people and guests. Check out our website at ntnm.org. Community policing, we're all big on that, camps24.org. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.